Yo. What's going on, Terrell? Hall of Fame. D-Line. Like my page. Share my page, please. I'm going to be on here a lot more. I got a nice camera, too. So I won't be sitting in cars on the iPhone the whole time. I'm going to be back sitting in chairs, sipping lemonade and shit. Anyway, this one is requested. Very requested, actually. My opinions and things on the situations with Carolina Bully Farms. Look, I don't know these guys personally. A couple years ago, the son was actually supposed to come on the radio show, and for whatever reason, he didn't make it. I think he said something came up, and I was going to ask him some questions. I wasn't going to ambush him or anything. But, throughout the years, I have gotten a lot of complaints about them as far as, different dog happenings. And I've actually talked with Dave Wilson about the situation with them getting banned, and I've been sent pictures. And this is my thing, it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck. It's probably a fucking duck. You know, from my understanding, the situation with them getting banned from the Abkc, I think it was hypocritical by the Abkc because there are definitely some people like Bbcr who has some serious issues with accused paper hanging that they never, ever even question, But I think it's some validity to it. The dogs that I've seen, the dogs that I've seen and the things that I've seen have led me to believe that they don't always keep it real and they do some weird things. I've seen personally an ad that Carolina Bully Farms was running, well, not an ad, but they were claiming a dog, and the gentleman messaged me and showed me that it was his, that it wasn't a Carolina Bully Farm dog. It was his dog. He produced it. They were claiming to produce the dog. And, he had puppy pictures. He had everything to show that this was his dog, the individual who came up about the DNA testing, he sent me a picture of the dogs, and the dog did look like a freaking German Shepherd, And I do stand by the fact that if you had an opportunity to prove that you weren't hanging papers and that none of these things were real and that the accusations of you buying other people's litters and different things were true, then you should have proved it. You should have went out and DNA tested everything. You should have been straightforward and just came out and did whatever. I think it's... And like I said, I don't know these guys. This video isn't personal. This is just based off of the facts that I've been given. And literally, I've got like 15 different emails of people, having claims and talking about, what they've done as far as hanging papers with dogs in different situations. And if old Cody and if he can fix this shit, I would fix it. If you could DNA profile and say, hey, I'll profile all these dogs and get them against each other and we can profile them and I'll show you that, I'll show you that my shit is legit, I would be the first one to be like, damn, he killed it. And I would be right back on here telling y'all that this is the case. But throughout the years, every time accusations have been made about mixing and about, hanging papers and different things like that, they totally avoid it, even to the point that, you get kicked out of a registry because you won't cooperate with the DNA testing. I think that points directly to the fact, you have dogs that come out, you say it was an accident, that look like damn German Shepherds and different stuff like that. When it gets down to this type of thing, you just have to be realistic with yourself. A lot of people in this American bully game are falling for advertisement. They have a huge YouTube page, they have a big following, they know how to work the internet. It's the same thing with some of these other guys. But as like I say, I don't know anything facts. I can only go off of the facts that's given. But the one thing I will say is that, they've never proven the accusations against them to be false. A lot of people have brought forth a lot of evidence, even to myself, like I'm a judge or something, but they brought forth a lot of evidence of, tampering and different issues that went along with these guys. But at the end of the day, when it boils down to it, I provided a platform for them to come on there and explain itself what was going on. They never showed. We actually did a promo for the show and everything, and they backed out. Never got reached back out to say they wanted to do this show to defend themselves. They've never, went and did the DNA testing like they were supposed to prove themselves. And with these many accusations of bad breeding ethics going around, it seems like that you would be willing to just go ahead and lay it all out on the line and say, look, I'm gonna DNA test this one, this one, this one, this one. We can put it all out here. I'll show you all my dogs is legit. Since that's not happening, I lean towards the side of everybody who's complaining and saying that there's some nonsense going on there. Looking at some of the pictures of the dogs, you see some vast changes. And like I tell you guys, if you want a true American bully, if you're trying to do true American bully type shit, it's best that you just go ahead and follow the breeders who have been stable and who have done American bully shit for a while. If you see extreme changes and if you see all these big question marks about what's going on with the dogs in the yard and stuff, then that's your own, you making a bad decision on yourself. You going with hype. Okay, these people are popular breeders, so I have to buy a dog from them. I'm not just saying them, but I see it throughout the American bully community. Y'all ignore the question marks, y'all ignore obvious alarms and go forward in your process. But at the end of the day, it's always something new, and we have to do better than what we've been doing as a community as far as just saying no to the hype and demanding a good quality dog. And we should be demanding DNA testing on our dogs to show that they're valid. People want 2,000, 10,000, 20,000 for a puppy, but the breeder can't DNA test a dog to at least assure you that you're getting what you pay for. That's nonsense. That's a lot of money, and no breeder at all should have a problem doing a DNA test on any of their litters. But that's all I had to say about that. Once again, I'll finish this thing by saying I know nothing factual. I'm just going off of the evidence that's given to me, and on that basis, I look at it like it's something shiesty going on there. And if it's not something shiesty, I urge Carolina Bully Farm to go ahead and DNA test all your dogs and prove everybody wrong. But some of them dogs that I've seen and some of these stories that I've seen and some of these videos and pictures of dogs that I've seen, and it don't look good, y'all. But like I say, y'all, man, do y'all research on breeders, do y'all research on the dogs, and make sure that you're getting a quality animal. Till later, God bless.